Here in South Florida, we divide our seasons into 4 parts: tourist, summer, football, and hurricane. It's with the latter that for the present we're most concerned.
South Florida has felt the wrath of numerous hurricanes over the years, including some of the most intense and deadly storms on record. While some were worse than others, a handful stood out for both their economic and fatal consequences. The 1926 storm was described by the U.S. Weather Bureau in Miami as probably the most destructive hurricane ever to strike the United States. It hit Fort Lauderdale, Dania Beach, Hollywood, Hollandale, and Miami with winds as high as 150 miles per hour. It resulted in the deaths of between 325 and 650 people, while more than 800 others were never accounted for. Property damage was the worst in U.S. history at the time. 2 years later, on September 16th, the 1928 storm struck first in Puerto Rico, killing 1,000 people, then hit Florida with 125-mile-per-hour winds. 40 miles west of the coast, rain filled Lake Okeechobee to the brim, and the dikes crumbled. Water rushed onto the swampy farmland, and homes and people were swept away.
What the phone reports, the reams of news copy written on Donna, and the thousands of feet of news film shot on her, somehow couldn't capture the true and utter destruction that was Donna.
Hurricane Donna was the 5th strongest hurricane of record to hit the U.S. After swiping the Florida Keys and striking land near Fort Myers on September 10, 1960, Deadly Donna took on the unusual distinction of being the only hurricane of record to produce hurricane-force winds throughout the U.S. East Coast from Florida, the Mid-Atlantic states, and New England.
There are 101, arrests for looting, 41 other arrests for miscellaneous things they say could come up in any situation. Now, there have been, at this point, 14 confirmed deaths.
For 27 years, South Florida had been spared a severe hurricane, until Hurricane Andrew arrived. It is still one of the most expensive natural disasters in U.S. history. Andrew was a small but ferocious storm that began in the Bahamas with 150-mile-per-hour winds on August 23rd, killing 3 people. The following day, Andrew crashed into Miami-Dade County, leaving thousands of residents homeless and panic-stricken.
These scenes of destruction, the fear is that once search and rescue teams are able to sift through the rubble and go through these areas, that number unfortunately will climb.
And the hurricane is really beginning to be felt here. As you can see, the palm trees are blowing, the rain is beginning to increase, and the sea is beginning to churn. It promises to be a long, long night.
Hurricane Wilma clobbered South Florida on October 24, 2005, leaving the entire region damaged, dark, and startled by the ferocity of the storm. It cut power to a record 3.2 million or more Florida homes and businesses and stopped water service to many. It had been the 5th major hurricane defined as one with winds of 111 miles per hour or greater to hit Florida in 19 months. But hurricanes aren't just deadly due to catastrophic winds and heavy rain. In fact, a Sun Sentinel review of more than 200 hurricane-related deaths in Florida showed that more people died after the storms than during. It revealed that the deadliest activity was cleaning up. As hurricane season begins, here are some tips for staying safe. Be careful to avoid not only fallen power lines, but also debris and standing or floodwater, which could be hiding an energized power line. Fatal falls from roofs, ladders, and the like accounted for half of the deaths reviewed during post-storm cleanup. Harnesses, lifelines, lanyards, anchors, and slip-resistant shoes can provide extra support when working at varying heights. Tree limbs, boards, ceilings, and other objects are unstable after a hurricane, and people have been killed by falling debris after the winds have stopped. Never use a generator or a barbecue indoors. The Centers for Disease Control recommends that generators be placed more than 20 feet from the home and any windows or doors. Flames from candles, improper use of generators, and boarded windows and doors have all contributed to post-storm injuries and deaths. Check out the Sun Sentinel's Hurricane Guide for more information on how to prepare for and stay safe during a hurricane.